Hello there, welcome back. So today's video might be a little bit longer because I'm going to give you a general overview of my Forgemillz game engine slash console emulation. Um, I don't know, you'll see once I get into it and give you the details. So basically the short history is I was working on my Danu game engine. I was running into some issues getting the WebSockets to work. And it's just something that I didn't quite feel comfortable. I didn't know enough, and I didn't trust AI, ChatGTP to kind of help me figure it out. And my experience has been they write a lot of bloat code that isn't needed. Like something that could be written in like 50 to 100 lines of code, they'll write in like 700 for some reason. I don't know why. I haven't figured that out, but I basically don't trust it. So I try to write most of the code myself, but I do need their help sometimes when it's something I don't know how to do or I have a problem and I need to troubleshoot. So I have been using them that way. But generally speaking, I'm trying to do most of this myself. That being said, I was running into issues with the Danu engine, so I put it on the back burner. I'm like, okay, wait. So I ran into two issues. One, the interface was getting to be starting to lean more towards Unity and Unreal Engine and Godot. Sorry, excuse me. More complicated than I wanted. Wanted to try to keep the interfaces as simple as I can. So I decided that I'm going to build the interface, the main interface, as a very generalized tool set. Then I'm going to make the game type specifics as modules or plugins that handle all the stuff to do with that specific type of game you're going to make and let you minimize it. So you're not packaging up all the code to make every type of game on the planet. You package up the code to make this type of game with the assets for this game and the main editor per se. And I think it's going to let me keep a pretty lightweight project. So that being said, I'm going to switch over to the main screen and kind of give you the gist of what's going on here. So if you've watched my other videos recently, you've seen the Forgemillz VTT engine. What that is very specialized tool. I was working on this tool and then I stripped it down for that tool to make a specialized product for Dungeons and Dragons tabletop games. Not really a VTT, but that's the closest name because that's what all these other ones like Roll20 and these other ones are all called. What it is basically a map creation and display tool, and that's it. You make maps, you display maps, and it's designed that if you've got a well, I designed it because my buddy over in Haida Gwaii, he's building himself a little pub, and we all grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons together. And so what we want to do is play Dungeons and Dragons over like Facebook or Google Video or Zoom or Teams or whatever, right? Just with the cameras, but have the one central setup, not multiple and not networked. So what we're going to do is he's going to put in a big game board and he's going to put it like a 43-inch or a 46-inch TV there with a sheet of plexiglass over it. I've already set him up with an older computer that's just perfectly fine with the software installed so that all he has to do is build maps and display maps. So it's basically once you've built the map, it's like 2 clicks. You open up the game engine, you choose the campaign, and then you choose the map you want to display. And so you can have multiple campaigns. They're all stored in different folders, and then multiple maps. And then you just set up the map. So as you move from map to map playfield, you just instantly load a new map, and you organize your miniatures that are sitting on top of the plexiglass accordingly. And you roll your dice. Your dungeon master does his thing. You're good to roll. So that is specifically what I stripped it down to become. What it started as was a simplified tool set that is kind of like an old school game console. So what you see on the screen in front of you is the little logos I've made. Um, Forgemillz RGPs, so you can make RGPs. Forgemillz top downs, you can make top downs, various styles. Forgemillz RTS, you can make RTS games, real-time strategy, like Age of Empires 2, that sort of thing. Forgemillz platformer, where you can make platformer games, and also versions of top-down that use the same mechanics as platformer, like the old um, Super NES Zelda games. They were basically like a platformer but top down. Whereas this type of top down is more like driving games or shooting games. So things like that. So you can, the generic tool sets for each one is a modular plugin. Down here you've got play game. I don't have any games built out, so I can't play any, but that's what that does. Settings, configure keyboard or your controller, brightness, volume, etc., etc. Actually, I'm going to go to master volume. I'm going to turn that way down for this demo. Save. Um, then install a game. So if you've built a game in the editor and it's a core zip file, you install that and it just basically lets you browse to it and it just copies it over and puts it in the build folder, where it then acts as a ROM that's listable for the play game. So you can open it just like a game by plugging a ColecoVision cartridge in, or a Super Nintendo cartridge, whatever, right? That's what the play game button's for. So basically you have the Forgemillz tool set and you're just using the play mode if you never plan to make a game. But if you do want to make a game, you've got the game editor, which we'll open now. So now we're in the game editor, and much like the VTT, you've got your three things up here. You've also got your file menu, but a couple more options in there. And then you've also got your main edit tools, which is almost the same. A few changes. The big change, so you know what engine you're in, is the VTT I made in a lighter theme, like a classic theme, and the Forgemillz game engine I made in a darker theme, just in case you open the wrong one for whatever reason. And that's because of the map size. So when you do create a new map or a level or whatever, you get prompted with what size you want to create it here. Whereas in the VTT, you get prompted for what size TV you've got, what resolution TV. Are you running a 1080p? Are you running 2K? Are you running 4K? And then it's going to build out the map to scale when it's full screen to fit that definition of TV set. So that's all you can do is build three different maps in there. Anyway, that being said, so now we come over here to project, none. So we can create a new project, or we can choose from one of these. Same thing, campaign. If you've got a project open, you can create a new campaign. By default, just goes to the map folder so you don't get an error, but there's no campaign open yet, right? And then you create a new map within that campaign. And so those maps are created in that campaign folder. That campaign keeps all the settings for that campaign, and that's kept within the project. And then project settings are managed there as well. So I'm going to open the simplest one first. Now, just be warned, not everything is working perfectly good. And when I ported this over to my YouTube computer today, a few things that were working on my laptop are not on my Alienware, are not working um, on my desktop. So I did add a clear cache button here. So what I can do is I can come down here, clear cache and reload. And I tend to do, I want that anyway in between, like if you're editing different types of projects, because how the tools work is they're set up with specific stuff, and that all gets loaded into the JavaScript engine. And then if that doesn't clear out and you open a different type of project and it doesn't necessarily clear the cache completely, which I'm not sure why, um, you'll want to clear that cache. So I've just added as a master clear cache and reload, just in the main menu as a be all end all, nuke the cache and start clean in case you run into any issues. I'm using it basically because I wanted to get this YouTube video out and I didn't want to have to see where it's falling down in the different plugin tools at this point in time, because that might be a long, arduous troubleshooting. And there's a few other things that aren't troubleshooting properly. But you know, it's not a big deal. But by the time of shipping, this is an early alpha. By the time of shipping, those will be working and it won't be a problem. And I will have tried on many different configurations and computers. So I have a few at my disposal between here and work. It runs locally, so I could try it on a few machines in like our various computer labs and stuff, just to make sure it works on different versions and updates of Windows with different hardware configurations. So that being said, we'll now get into this. So I'm going to open. They're color coded. So top downs are red. Real-time strategies are yellow. RGPs are blue. And platformers are orange. I'm probably going to change this yellow to a green, actually, to make it more distinctive. I don't know why I picked that color. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. So I'll start actually with the RT test, just to show you the basic tools. Then select a campaign. Meadowlands, select the level, the valley. And there we go. So now you've got open the map and all the same map working tools. We'll just go here and I'm going to go to paint a plant. Sure, I will put a lily pad here on this water and I'll put this plant there. There we go. So I painted 2 plants. Okay. Maybe I want to paint some more ground cover. Take this guy and we'll just make him grow here a little bit by the lily pad. There we go. Perfect. Save that. All right. So basically, if you've seen the VTT one, if you haven't, go back and see it. I don't want to cover all that stuff again. This would be an astronomically long video. There's a lot to go over. Paint water, paint ground. Again, if I want to change the ground up here, let's just add some flowers. Sure. And then you could change the brush size on the pressure too, right? So you got all that there. We just painted some flowers in. Nothing major. Let's go here. There we go. Save. There. We've painted a bunch of flowers in. All right. So now what you see on screen, these are trees. So again, that's just paint trees. I'll just go to paint trees. There you go. You can pick whatever trees you want. By default, I've included a couple of deciduous and some top-down ones. Now, these are all free trees that I've made on I forget what the website is, Tree It or Open Tree, or I don't know. I've covered it in one of my other YouTube videos, giving a demo of it. It's free to make asset models, and then I just export it as a, and see that tree would be huge. So we probably want to shrink that bad boy down to something like this. Sure. There we go. Now we put a tree in, and that tree is swaying left to right, and it can adjust the speed. But just give it a little bit and a little bit so it looks like a rustle. There we go. Save. There, just to turn on the sway layer. So if you don't have any tree swaying, so if you're making like an RPG game or something like that, and you didn't have any tree swaying, you would have you wouldn't turn that on. You wouldn't turn on the sway at all. You would just leave it off. So, but that being said, whatever. Then so these things are interactables. They're not actually tree painted. You can see there's a circle around them. So if I go, I've created an interactable using a tree graphic. And you can see that they're an interactable for tree, gold, and iron, right? And so that's gold, those are trees. Whereas normally placed trees that you can't harvest are in the tree layer, right? Now to get at all these things, and there's the start layer, start position, that's just paint start position. And then delete object will let you go in, like if I want to delete that tree or whatever, you can delete it. Some things like enemies and interactables, the delete object doesn't work on. You need to actually do it from within the tool. So if I go down here, paint enemies, for instance, I don't have any, but you toggle the erase to delete them. I didn't want it easy to accidentally delete a bunch of spawn mobs, so I separated that out. I might put that back in. I don't know. That whatever. I don't need to ramble on about it. That's as more and more development in this alpha happens, there will be things that change and get tweaked, right? So, so the next thing you need to know, that's all the standard tools, right? You can set up your waypoints, your paths, your collisions. So none of that are needed in RTS. I'll show you those in another version. We go into the RTS tools. Now this is the specific toolkit for RTS. I've tried to design all the toolkits to look very similar, have the layout very similar, and yet they function differently between different types of games. So if you're building an RTS game, the RTS toolkit's a little different in here, and the tabs are different than a platformer or a top-down or a role-playing game. But I've tried to keep them more or less the same. And where things cross over, there is a little difference between them because of necessity for the game genre. However, I've tried to keep them very similar. And there are a few things I've noticed that I could make more similar that I haven't done that I probably should clean up. And by the time I get to beta testing or beta testers, which I'm hoping will be in a few months, then those should be normalized again. So basically, again, this is just an overview of what this product is. So in the RTS toolkits, we've got the GUI settings. So you can set what color you want your text. You can set your line width. You can set your style. You could show minimap or not. I don't have the background of the minimap on right now. It's just tracking units on the screen. But that's also something that I've got enabled for a role-playing game. So I was able to copy that same code over and just adjust it a bit. So a lot of this is copy and paste code and copy and paste scripts. So I've broken a lot of these scripts down so that I can do that, making them modular and making them just reach out as a class and point to another object. I'm able to actually do that. So it's pretty good that way. So it's not nearly as code intensive in a single Java file as needed, which makes it a lot easier to troubleshoot. But even then, I've been having a lot of troubleshoot issues, which again, I've had to get AI to help me do a lot of troubleshooting. But still, I'm trying to keep it essentially my product. Um, that being said, minimap size, where you want to put it, resource bar, position, top, um, so that's like gold, iron, silver, whatever. Starting resources, starting units. Um, Command card, that's right down at the bottom right. And that's basically just build unit, deploy unit, build item, deploy item, or a building, whatever. That's what that is. Show the health bars. You can turn that on or off if you don't like them in game. Um, I've also got progress bars set to, for color coding. We can come over here to player units now. So enemy units, more or less the same as player units. Enemy buildings, more or less the same as player buildings. I don't have anything built in this demo for those two yet, but it functions identically the same. They're just tagged as enemy units rather than player units. And I haven't built in any AI control or unit intelligence. I don't. Using AI is funny these days because everybody thinks you're talking about an AI system like ChatGPT or something. But AI, when I refer to AI in the game, I'm meaning unit intelligence and how a unit functions in the game. When I use AI as in a code helping or helping me troubleshoot or something, that's the other type that everyone's talking about right now. So player units, I'll select this player unit's a woodsman. This one's a worker. You can come down here and see you can choose your sprite. You can browse to choose a sprite. It gives you a preview of it. You can actually make it a static image or a sprite sheet, which if it's a sprite sheet, you could choose LPC, RPG Maker, your own custom, or PV Games, RGP Tools. And you've got all those options once you've chosen a sprite sheet. I'm just using static images here to get it working. I don't need it for this type of game. A lot of people don't too. Like it depends what you're doing, spaceships and mining colonies and stuff. Do you really need animations for them? Who knows, right? It's up to you, personal choice. And then you can scale it. So again, if you've got a 1024 by 786 or whatever, I think I made these are 512s or whatever. So I've scaled them down to 0.15, right? So that they'll actually be a small unit on screen. So you've got the ability to do your own art and then just scale it to fit. Max health, you can change that, how much damage it does if it gets in a fight. How much armor it's got to protect it? None. It's a woodsman, but it does have an axe, so it can do 10. Attack range, 32 pixels. So it can go and attack something within 32 pixels. Speed, how fast does it move? 80. Production, what does it take to make this unit, right? All pretty self-explanatory. This takes 1 gold, 1 metal, 1 wood. Production time is 25 seconds. Okay, come down to the worker. Everything more or less the same, right? Health's a little less, damage is set at 10. I should probably change that on to 5. Whatever, movement speed 80. But it only takes 1 gold, 1 wood, and 25 seconds. So they're much cheaper to create just a generic worker than it is a woodsman. And the reason for a woodsman, well, they need the metal because you got to make them an axe, right? So there you go. And then again, enemy units don't have any. Now, buildings, player buildings. All right, so same thing. Scale the sprite, choose the sprite you want to use. Um, right? Now they're buildings, so they don't have sprite sheets attached to them. But what the buildings have is you could choose a type, right? Tower, barracks, wall, storage, farm, and then slightly different config, right? Because you might want a category and you might have 3 different things. Like you might have wooden tower, you might have iron tower, you might have stone tower, right? Like, so there's options there for those things. Now, so you come down here, and then what you can do is just same as completed, round as JPEG. That's what I've got now. But what if you want to go and it's in and completed, use main image file. But if you want to change these up, you can then change that. And I could do, I could have a separate image with it part built, or just a cleared site, another one with it half built, and then another one fully built. And then you can change the stages so that as this time, it just, whatever time you've got here, it just calculates, and it just tells you where it's at, and it'll automatically update that picture for you. So, and there is a progress bar. So when the progress bar gets to a third of 25, it would change it to this one, or it would be this one until it's a third, then it would change it to this one at a third, and then when it's complete, it goes to that one, or halfway, or whatever, right? So anyway, that's that. Then you can choose which unit, and this unit will populate as you add more units in. You will have more units to choose, and then which unit it takes to build it, right? And then same thing in the units. So if I go to player units, you also have can build. And now the reason you have it in both places, gathers wood from the forest. It's classified as a gatherer. But if I go to this one, worker, basic worker, down here, oh, maybe I didn't. Maybe I already removed that. I think I'm gonna, oh yeah, no, right here. Yeah, so buildable building types. Because you might have basic worker, advanced worker, and maybe both can do Celtic Roundhouse, but maybe you've got an iron tower here, and only the advanced worker can do the iron tower, so you would have it unchecked for this guy. But in the actual buildings down here, its classification is a worker, because over here there's the type worker. So it knows you need a worker type, but then down here you can tell which type of worker. Now, I don't know if we actually need that or not, or how much you want to get into that micromanagement, but I know some people will want to. So I added it as an option. I don't, like, for this simple demo I'm doing, you don't need it, right? However, if you're going to get more complicated and you're going to get really into the works and the gears of it all, you're probably going to want that function. And then the other thing down here is resources. So now we've got gold, gold resource PNG. And then now I should have a depleted one here as well. So when it's depleted, but I think for right now, when it's depleted, they just disappear. And that's good. But if somebody wanted, I can have a checkbox, show depleted image. Let me know in the comments if you want that or not. I can, the checkbox, to be able to choose a depleted one so that you've got like a spent mine animation with no gold on the ground. I think them disappearing, it's just fine and dandy, but it all depends on the creator, right? How complicated do you want to get? How much polish do you want to put on it? And again, you can adjust it so that you don't have to like resize it in an editor and bring it in 19,000 times to make sure it's the right size. You can scale it in Engine, put it in whatever size you want. Down here, how many gold does that have to offer? That has 50 gold you can harvest out of that big mountain of gold. Harvest time? Well, it takes 30 seconds to harvest 1 gold, right? Gathered by worker. But tree, so if we come over here to tree, it takes a woodsman to harvest it, right? It's wood type of resource, so it goes in the wood counter. And total amount in a tree, there's only 5, whereas in the gold we had 50. And it only takes 10 to harvest one. Because to be honest, and harvest amount is 1. To be honest, with an axe and a tree, like how long is it really going to take compared to mining a freaking mountain to get gold out of it, right? It's not going to be nearly as fast to get your results from harvesting gold than it is cutting down a tree. So that's where you can tweak all that, right? So now I'll quickly just show you that in gameplay. Like that's how that tool works, and we'll do a quick play mode. I'm actually just going to come in here and I'm just going to clear cache because I can. I'm going to reload it. RTS test, select campaign, meadow, valley, play mode. All right, so now I'm going to take this guy. Oh. Right click to tell him where to go. Take this guy. Right click to tell him where to go. And now because those are resources to harvest, they're going to get started. Now if you look up here, there's my resource counter. My gold is yellow. Metal is silver. Wood is brown. His progress bar is brown, right? Now that tree's gone down, so there's one less in there. So there's only 5. When that hits again, it'll go down by 1 more. Down. Now if you come over here to the gold, you see I'm harvesting the first gold. So it's full right now, so it's not showing a progress bar. But as soon as that finishes, that gold is same color as the gold icon. Now you've got it showing just a little bit off because there's still 49 that can be harvested, right? And if it was iron, that would be the iron column. So now as soon as that one's done, there, tree disappears. So now I'll take him, send him up to a new tree. All right, this one's almost done. Bang, perfect. So now I'm going to take him away from there. I'm going to send him over here. All right, now I'm going to come down here to my command bar, and now I can build. I should have it hover over to tell me what the resources it needs are. But when you can't build it, it's grayed out. You can't do it. And when you can build it, it's white. Now I just right click, run to build it. And if you'll notice my 3 gold, 1 metal, 9 wood, right click, 2 gold, 1 metal, 5 wood. But I think he just harvested a new one. So now you can see the build progress. And then as soon as that finishes, oh, he's done. Send him over here. All right, so now I'm going to send him back here to get gold. And I'm going to click on this. Now there's that 42 by 42 pixels is the middle shape. You can adjust that to whatever you want. That's just what I have it set in the tools. And now I can build a worker. So I'm going to click on that. And now you see the progress is building a worker. And as soon as that's finished, I can send him to work. Go. There we are. There. And then I can send another one. Now I got multiple guys collecting. And it'll just show him. There we go. He's harvesting. Again, it's a 42 by 42 pixel. But there you go. The very basics and playable and actually a little bit fun. I mean, yeah, there ain't much to do yet, but I mean, it plays well. So that's playable. And I'll just show you that one thing in there in the RGP toolkit over here for player buildings. Right here, 48 by 48. So you could change that size as to how that shows up in the middle of the building. But maybe I want to make that bigger. Maybe I want to go 64 by 64. Because basically the clickable area. There we go. Save. Now I'm not going to go back in and show you that, but I'll just save that so that next time we're looking at it, it's good to go. Yeah. All right. So the next thing to do is I'm going to clear my cache again. Oh, I got a modal that's not working, but that's okay. Now what I'm going to do is that with the RTS, I'm going to show you the top-down test. Now there's a couple bugs in this one, and I haven't gone back to it. This was the kind of the first one I was working on. But what we've got in here is you've got enemy units that follow this path, which you set up in the edit tools. So you draw a waypoint here and label it. And then in the enemy, in the RGP tools, you come in here and under enemies, It follows waypoint path. I've only got one in this level, so it follows that one. But I need to edit that and change that so that it actually says the name. So it says here path 2, even though I deleted one and then created 2. It's going path area 1. I need to update that so it says the name. I just haven't done it. That's a minor. It functions, but I don't like it. It needs to directly have the pull down directly reflect the name. Any that are created, you can select it that exist in the project or in the level. Sorry, in the level. That being said, and then there's aggro range for the bad guy. He's just set to the Sandbuggy one is his name. Scaled right down because he was at a 1024 image. He was just a AI generated. I had Copilot generate me a Sandbuggy, and then I had to modify it into a crashed version, so you can have a destroyed version of him. Which I don't think I've got that set up, but whatever. He does shoot when he gets close enough to the enemy. He'll start shooting and do damage, or when he gets close enough to the player. There's his health, etc., etc. Animation tab. I'm not actually utilizing this. I'm skipping animation, but animation tab is set up if you want to set up like a master animation flow in here. It's more for if you're doing more of a top-down characters with sprite sheets and things like that. Even though you can assign those in character by choosing a sprite sheet instead, by unchecking this, you'll have the ability to choose a sprite sheet. But then you have to come over here to configure your sprite sheet. I did this before and I haven't cleaned it up yet. I'm probably just going to work it into the character one to expand down when you get into it because that's how I've done the platformer and the RGB. But like I said, I started on this and I haven't cleaned it up yet. So that will probably change at time of shipping. Or actually, it'll probably change at time of alpha, let alone time of shipping. Movement. Here is where you choose WSAD, 8 directions. So if you're like a top-down, like a game like Downtown or one of the original Zelda type games or something like that, where you're looking straight top-down like an old console game, um, Pac-Man, Venture, whatever, right? Like some Ladybug, something like that. This is where you would use that. But I've got it in vehicle mode. Now you'd use vehicle mode in anything where you've got acceleration, deceleration, and you want to turn with the keys and speed up and slow down to affect those turning. You want to make, like classic Defender, any 2D top-down driving game, things like that. And this is a driving game I made as a demo. Rather than sticking to my RGP kind of theme thing, I wanted to do something a little different to demonstrate the diversity of the tool set. So I made a driving game, right? Collision. Here's where you just draw the collision of your sprite sheet. Set it up, good to go, or whatever space you want. Pretty simple. Down here, you can set anchor points, you can set multiple, and it's basically you can just see what it looks like in each version. It looks the same because we're rotating, so it doesn't matter. But if you had a sprite sheet with a different sprite, you might want to adjust those coordinates to be saved for that sprite sheet. So if you're holding a gun or something, you don't want the gun in the same place if you're facing left versus right. So you're going to want to have that anchor point adjusted, right? And then you have a preset of a projectile. What are you going to use? Fire facing. So I can go here. I'll use shockwave here, sure. And then we're good to go. Switch player appearance if health threshold changes. So I can do that. And I've got it to just a beaten up Mustang, like my 67 Mustang or 68 Mustang, sorry. And then I can change that to a beaten up 68 Mustang. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change that. I've got it as the blue one. Let's change it to the beaten up green one just so that it's obvious when it happens. All right, save. And then GUI and stats, same as the other one. Basically, changes GUI, change your stats. All right, health starts at 100. Speed, speed starts at. I want speed to start. Minimum value is 0. It really doesn't matter on this type of game because there's the override. Override for the driving controls. They kind of override it. Yeah, let's see. And then this is a basic collision, right? Just a collision zone. So if the car bumps into that, it's going to kind of glide along that. This is interactable. So placed interactable. So if we go paint interactable, interact editor, So in the interact editor, I can load an interactable. Please select the interactable to load. I didn't do that. Road pylon 1, load interactable. It's loaded, and then you can see what it does. So add the points and then delete self. And the order matters. The top one happens first, bottom one happens last. And that's on collide. So, and this is the, again, part of the universal toolkit. So like in the RGP demo, what I'll show you, I've got a barrel and a sack. They don't have a delete self on them, right? Because I've been testing, adding different things in and seeing, playing around, getting the inventory work and stuff. So it's just easier not to delete the barrel and the sack. So whatever, on collide or on select, you can change how that acts. You can add a tint color if you want to change it. So the pylons are a little bit dead. There's your preview down the bottom. And whatever. So they're an object. And then you go to here, and then you go to paint interactable. There's the only interactable loaded in this level in this game. And I can paint that. And again, those are saved in the project, at the project level. So then basically if I hit play, I can go turn W. I do have a glitch here. I'm not sure why. The enemy's not showing up when I link up to the path till he like collides with the player or something. But so W speeding me up. Oh, there, see, he just showed up for some reason. I'm not sure why. So there's some weird glitch there. Backing up and then turn as I'm backing up, right? So you can see the friction as I drive forward. So typical. So right now I've got 0 points. Speed is at 0. And we're going to speed up 200 miles an hour. Bang, hit that pylon. I'm not sure that 200 actually reflected how fast the car was going. I mean, that's all tweaked. I just had numbers in there. There's my health is 100. Let's go find the bad guy. I'm going to bounce off the collision. Bounce, see I'm sliding off it. So basically I'm hitting the mud and sliding. Let's quickly go see if we can find. There he is. All right, so when I get close, he should come aggro at me. There he is, and he's shooting, and his health bar showed up. But he is glitching out. See, I've been wounded now, and I've turned into the other car. So you can see how all that works. And I'm at 0. I haven't got a dead thing respawn assigned or anything yet. And I'm just shooting my shockwave, kill him. There, he's killed. Anyway, so that's the gist of it. And then you can set up interactables that the actions would actually, so you could set like columns here. So when you go around the map, you could set a counter to lap 1, lap 2, lap 3. If lap 3 equals whatever, then go to next map, whatever. Then you're going into a new race. So all sorts of stuff like that you can do. So anyway, so yeah, there is some glitch when I attach him to the path. If I don't attach him to the path, he'll just sit there and he's visible. So there's something weirding out there. It doesn't do it on the laptop, but it does it here. Anyway, so now we're going to, that's the top-down tool. So now we're going to go over here, clear cache again. That modal default JavaScript modal is bugging me. So now we'll go to the platformer. So there we got a new platformer project. Baldric the Brave, because I've used that before. It'll be an ongoing theme. Eventually, I'll make a real game probably out of it on this platform for you to download for free. And then there we go, home front. So what I've got here now is, you can't see it, but there's some parallax mapping going on. The plugin tool changed, and there's my start location. It's a side platformer, just like the old Baldric was that I made in Godot as a demo. I've got my water painted in here. So same thing. You want to paint stuff in here, you can paint, just paint on the ground, terrain, do whatever. This is a collision map. These are all interactables. I've painted those in. They're just pickups I've created in the Interact Creator. So when you pick it up, that gives you a gun. When you pick it up, this gives you gold. When you pick it up, this gives you armor. This one gives you bullets. There's an enemy that I've created, a drop-down enemy. Here's an interactable. This is just a ground block that moves back and forth, and you create it in the platform tools. My cat's meowing like crazy at me. Here's a boulder that's blocked off to force you to use the spring pad that I created to go onto the platform. So I'm not going to show you how to place any of those in, but I will show you the platform tools. So the platform tools, GUI settings here at the beginning, and the other one I think I had them over here. I think I'm going to make GUI settings always first. I'm going to move them to always be the first tab. So, I like it better first, because then you can set up your GUI and then move on to your character. then your enemies, then your items, then your world. World, we're going to hit next though. So basically, you can set up your gravity, set up your camera, um, set up your dead zone, set up your zoom. So right there, that lets you make like 10 different types of games, right? So if you can assign friction or not. If you're in space, maybe you don't have friction. If you're a driving game, you've got lots of friction. Maybe you're in space and when you cut off the thrusters, you get a little bit of friction. So then maybe your forward movement, your WSAD or whatever, might might slow down, and then you maybe the gravity pulls you back in this direction. So like a defender type of game or something. Maybe gravity pulls you in this direction. Maybe you fall out of the sky on an angle like this if you're making a side view defender clone. If you're making just a top down Gradia type game shooter or whatever, maybe you fall back that way. Maybe you got no gravity at all. Maybe you're an R type and you got no gravity. Like so a lot of options there. There's wrap mode. So, for like a Pac-Man or a Ladybug, you leave this side of the screen, you come back to this side of the screen. You can turn that on. You can wrap mode up, down, left, right, whatever you want. Horizontal, vertical, both. Doesn't matter, right? You can set a background color. Doesn't matter here because I'm using a parallax. Um, Parallax. So here we go. So that's by default, there's nothing there, right? But you can browse and assign a parallax. You can assign a speed or none. You can just have it as a background image. If you set it to 0, there's no background scrolling. If you parallax the background, how parallax works is how I've set it up. There's background layer, a middle layer, and a front layer. Background is meant to be way in the background, like off in the distance, like a mountain range or a forest way over there. The middle ground, houses just off behind you, trees just off behind you, shrubs just off behind you. And in the foreground, trees, bushes, whatever that are in front of you, signs, whatever, right? So you've got 3 levels, and which really bring life when parallax is set up right and you play around with it to make it look how you want to your game, which I've built in here as a demo, so I can show you that. And so what I've got is I don't have a mid-ground one going. There's nothing in the middle. So parallax is set at 0.5. It should actually be at 0. There's nothing happening. Um, and then the buffer is just kind of a preload. It's just a gap between um, repeats. So if you want to space out the buffer, so in the foreground I use it here. If I scroll down here, I'm going to set up a buffer here of 750. All right, save. So now so what'll happen is before the tree plays again, there'll be a spacer of nothing for 750 pixels, and then it'll play again. And that messes with how you've placed items and things in the game, because in the editor it doesn't really parallax. It's only at runtime. When the camera's in focus, everything's lined up, so you don't really see it in the editor the same way, right? But that being said, yeah. So bottom of line, I got a minus 380 on it to move it up so that it's lined up here, and it's good to go. Items, same thing. You create items, and then you can use items as interacts, or you can use items as placeables, whatever. Mushroom. This mushroom is set up in trampoline mode. You got all these different modes: collectibles, power up, key, item, ammo, health, whatever. Follow waypoint. So those are all set up. It is set up as a spring pad. You can send an audio file. I haven't bothered, but you could put a boing. Again, you can scale your sprites and stuff, so you don't have to worry about getting your artwork exactly right. This one's a jump boost. So you can make it a jump boost or a speed boost. So, some games like Sonic have a speed where it like speed you up by like 100. Or in Mario, you've got a jump boost. So you can set it up however you want, but it's basically called a trampoline. All right, and then you can change the value. Can be placed as a pickup? No, because you want to interact with it. Pickup value is 1. That's just defaulted to 1. It doesn't matter. It doesn't accumulate because you're not picking up, right? So nothing changed there. Bullets. Now those are a pickup. So those are set as an ammo. Then it's just a simple picture I drew in paint just to quickly have something there. I didn't even open Critter to draw that. Audio file, you can do a click or whatever. Scale the sprite accordingly, right? Can be placed as a pickup. That's checked. Pickup value, it's going to give you 2. I'm going to make it give you, yeah, I want it 2 so that I can demo the melee combat too. Cumulative track, don't need to worry about that. Armor, boom. So that's set as armor. So what armor does is that actually gives you another GUI thing in your GUI settings over here. You've got an armor GUI. So all these things can be set in the items menu. So super simple, right? Okay, so I am playing a sound when you pick that one up. Scaled it. Armor value gives you 20 points of armor. So in the platformer, the armor takes damage instead of you, and then when it's gone, it's gone. And then you start to take damage. So I kept it real simple. Now, some action RPGs are that way. So if you don't want to do a side view and you want to do a top down, you can still use that. So you can use it as armor in like a Super Nintendo Zelda style game. Can be placed in a level. Value is just one pickup value, right? You could turn it on to cumulative. So if I put another one here, it picks it up and adds another 20, another 20. So you could do that, but I don't have a cumulative. Basically, gives you 20. That's it. When it's gone, it's gone. If you pick another one up, it'll just give you 20. Whatever. Gun, that one's a weapon. So then that is, a sword is also a weapon, which is set to your character. By default, you've got the sword. But you could set them up with a gun by default, and you could set them up to have armor by default if you want. I don't. And then down here is an anchor point. And then that's an anchor point for where any weapon mounts, and it's also an anchor point for where any projectile comes out of, right? And so this is using shockwave projectile, which is just a beam. In this case, this shockwave is a beam weapon. I copied the other one over and I just modified it. But you can create all new. It's really easy. It's in the projectile editor in the tools menu. Right here, you can just create new projectiles. They're really easy to do. Okay, that being said, so that's set as a beam weapon. You can do an east and a west because it is just a platformer. We don't need an up or down because we're not doing up or down. If we were in this mode, a top down or 8-way, then we could set it for each direction if we wanted to get that carried away with it. All right, and then more or less same thing for enemies. But then, so I'm showing you the ammo weapon. I just need to show you how it was mounted in the character to that anchor point. So there's just kind of what it is. It's just a pistol gun icon that I just cut the handle off of and mounted in. Like, I am not getting carried away with these graphics. I'm just trying to do something to demonstrate the capabilities of the engine, right? And then I've got no audio file, but I could do coins, sure. And then save item. Right? And then ammo item, it uses bullets. So it does 15 damage, uses the shockwave beam to represent itself, and then this check marks, it uses ammo. If it didn't use ammo, it would just shoot that beam, and I can continually just keep shooting and do 15 damage over and over and over indefinitely. But I've assigned ammo because I want ammo to be a pickup. Can be placed in pickup in level. Yes, you get one. It is not cumulative. You do not get like 5 guns stacked together. All right, sword, there's not even a graphic or a pickup for it. No music. It's your default. You go back to your sword because that's what the character's assigned with when you lose your gun. You go back to your sword by default. Gold, it's a cumulative. Place the coins. It adds pickup 5. It is cumulative because we're counting it in the GUI. So there you go. Now I'll just show you all that. And save, close this, and then we'll show you it in action. So there we go. We've got our parallaxing in there. Oh, I got some weird thing going on up there. I'm not sure what that's about. So I jump, forward, backward, can't go down, jump is up, to attack, left click, right? So now there's my coins, there's my health points. Here we go, I got 5 coins. Picked up the gun. You can now see it says ammo 1. If I use that, I will lose the gun. I don't have another gun pickup, so then this ammo won't do anything for me. So now I'm going to pick up the armor. Now you can see I've got 20 points of armor. Armor's picked up. Now I'm going to pick up more ammo. 10 points of ammo. Now I'm going to pick up bullets. Now I have 3 bullets. Oh, he's going to attack me. So I'm just going to run over here and shoot him. Bang. Damage. Bang. Bang. Now I'm on to melee attack. My gun's gone. I used all 3 shots. And I killed him off with the melee attack. So he's dead. Now I can see my offset on my trees here. These are my front trees, and the parallax is not great. But I need to fix that. So that's a spring pad. Let's jump over and get these first. You can see the parallax between the background and the foreground are different, right? If I walk in front, I don't spring. If I land on top, I spring because I set the collision area. Oh, damn. Ah, I made it. All right. So, you can see I can't get past the rock because I put a collision area there. But you can see the different parallaxing, right, as I'm moving back down the foreground. And I'm behind the tree. Whereas if I had that on the middle ground, it would be back one layer. And then you would set a transition to the next level here. All right. So now I'm just going to quickly show you how that tree offset. Back over here to world. That's the front parallax. And I've got that front align. I've got it minus 380. So pixel offset applied after alignment. Positive is down, negative is up. So what I want to do is from 380, I'm going to go to 373, save. And now, no, I still don't like them. That wasn't enough, so let's just take this down to there we go. So now that's still not quite right. I mean, ideally they'd be maybe 320, 335 or something. I don't want to linger here. I still got more to show you, but I'm just going to go 335. There you go. That's better. So now when I parallax, it's much better, right? So anyway, you can see the tools you've got at your disposal. You could play with that. Clear cache and reload again. All right. Now the last type is the RGP. Iron Hills is my campaign. Farmer Brown. So what I've got going on here is I have wheel mouse zoom out in the RGP mode. Placed a mob here. My trees are just trees waving. I've added a damage zone up here. That's why it's a pink. It's a collision zone, but it's purple. So that's a damage zone. I've got a non-player character here, Dawn. I've got a pickup barrel here, which is an interact item. And down here, I've got another pickup barrel. It's a pickup item. It's a sack. A rock with a collision zone. Player start location. If I go into the RGP tools, there's quite a bit going on in here. So you can configure the character. There's my ranger. So here's all the animations set because he's set as they're automatically set. It auto detects the image as an LPC, as PV games, or as RGP maker instead of a selector. I added that kind of after the fact, and I didn't add a pull down yet. I need to add a pull down. I'll have that fixed for the beta test. But anyway, so I've got that character. There's the animations to use for the different things by default. Items, when you assign items, you can actually change these animations out. Here's the stats. I just used standardized stats for the system. And then you can adjust the values of them. And then down here, you can add equipment layers. So there's nothing in them by default. I've added nothing to those by default. They get added with the items. Enemies, mostly the same, right? NPCs, mostly the same, except in NPCs, there's added action. Oh, and enemies, there's added action. There's their type of combat. Rotate only face player. And then That's just the default movement, but you can set them to follow a path, wander, waypoint, same thing, right? Free move and rotate. So he just wanders around the map. If you were making like a Memorg style, you'd probably have that. But then ranged aggro within 310, he's going to chase the player. All right. Uh, Collision, you can set a radius. It's basically just a circle around. Right now, you can see that little circle there. So, right. Basically, that's that. NPCs, you can add what they do. So you can check if this NPC is a store or not, and it is a merchant store. So it can actually open up a store from the dialogue. Items, basic sword, right? Simple sword. Allow attacking and or allow stacking. No, we don't want to stack it. Assign sound effects. I don't have any, but whatever. Base price. Yeah. Base price 25. Actually, I'll assign footsteps. Sure. What the heck? 25. Base damage. Quantity hit bonus. So this is where you go. If it's a +1 sword, it'd be +1 hit, +1 damage. Add extra damage. So this is, if you check this, it's like, okay, what type of damage? You can have all these different types of damages, right? I don't have any. Weapon range, that's how many pixels away from the enemy. So for instance, with this would work as like a closest range. Where's your collision range for your NPC? You'd set it to that. So if you're at 35 in a collision range, you'd add 35. If you if 35 and 35, what are those together? You set that up, that'd be 70 then, right? Or something like that. So you play around with that till it works. It's pretty easy to figure out. I just basically took the collision range for both characters and say this is what you need to set that spacing to, right? Like see the two nearest values and add, right? So simple, easy to figure out. Attack speed in milliseconds. Now this is where it's really good on the weapons, making you distinguish not only the damage, the attack speed. So a bow takes a longer time to load a bow and arrow and let go after aiming than it does swinging a sword. So sword attack speed is 1,000, whereas a bow, I've got it set to 2,000, right? So they have definitely distance. I've also got a range of 400, so the crosshair shows up quicker when you're quicker. Potion, this adds, what does it add? Blah, 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 blah. 40 points to your agility. That was kind of bugged out and not working since the move over. I'm not sure why. Then this is just a healing potion. Adds 20 to the heal amount. They should work exactly the same. Kite shield. Basically, no special effects. Allow stacking. No. Standard shield. Shield sprite frames 3. Because in the attack mode, I want to play that when the shield's in combat. Armor rating 1. It basically adds 1 to your armor, right? Damage reduction 5. So it adds 1 to your armor rating and minuses 5 off any damage you've taken, right? So, and then arrows, of course, same thing. They're ranged weapons. How many max stack size? We've turned it on for this because you're stacking them. Max stack size 24, but there's only 12 in a dozen when you buy them. Base damage 1d4. Everything in the RPG game is based on basically dragon dice. So, yeah. And you can add extra damage of whatever, fire, whatever, if you had acid arrows, right? Add extra damage, acid, 8 points. So there you go. Then conversations, right? So if I click on this Dawn conversation, this I'm pretty proud of. It took me a while. It took me a long while to get this working right. I kind of started this in the Danu engine, but then when I ported it over here, I kind of reworked it. But it's basically like who? Dawn. Okay, trigger type on interact. Start in node N1 NPC Dawn. So this is N1 NPC Dawn. So we're running this node. What is this node? It's the NPC. It's the dialogue line. NPC says, "Hello, stranger." So when you click on the NPC says, "Hello, I am Dawn. What brings you to my neck of the woods of the world?" Then you add text. All right. So then here's the player's choice. I want to buy something. Or another choice. I added another action, another choice. I hear you have a goblin problem. I added another choice. Nothing really, I'm just here. So then this one just ends the conversation. Simplest thing you can, doesn't do anything, exits the conversation. Goes back to the main game. Here, There's dialogue that the NPC says, which is here. Just yes, we are whatever, blah blah blah. You know, we are losing chickens to the brown, blah blah blah. I need you to kill. I need you to kill a bunch of. Um, I need you to kill 5 goblins for me. Then it starts the quest, and the quest is called Kill Goblins. So pretty simple. There's other actions you can do, right? There's a whole bunch of other actions in here, but and you just add an action. So this one's open a store, right? So that opens the merchant store. If I was to remove this conversation, because this NPC is set to be a merchant store and that store is set, then with that conversation gone, this NPC would actually open that store by default. But because we're running the conversation and it overpowers that, the store comes up through the conversation. I wanted to be able to demonstrate it both ways, so that's why I built it in both ways. Quests, here we go. Kill goblins quest. So here, simple kill quest, but you could change it. Kill, collect, talk to, or go to, right? So I've got a kill quest, and you can select whatever you want. Oh, I gotta add an objective. That would be goblins. Whatever, I don't have it. Anyway, I've got it down here already set. And then if the objective is met, then it's give items, lesser healing potion, 2 of them, give items, select 12. I don't have any, but I'm gonna go acid arrows. All right. Anyway, I'm not gonna save that. I'm gonna exit out of that. And now I'm gonna demonstrate all that. And then these interactables are, I'll just show you the interactables, how I set them up here in the RPG game. Interact editor, and then we're gonna go load interactable. We'll do the sack of money. Load. It's loaded. Basically, give 10 gold, delete self, right? So you can do whatever. The other thing that I should show you is on the projectile editor. So the projectile editor, you can just create a new one, you can load one, you can do whatever. Basically, you just got all these sliders and options: color, pulse, glow, none, whatever. Gravity, so you can make it fall out of the ground, right? You can do beam weapons, call it whatever you want, save it, change the colors, enable color gradient scale. So there's all sorts of things you can do. It's just a simple particle editor, and there's a lot of variety, so you can make a lot of neat effects. Anyway, I'm not going to make any new ones, but just so you know. All right, play mode. Load screen. Oh, gotta clear my cache. For whatever reason. Clear cache and reload. I'm not sure why that's doing that. There we go. Now with my cache cleared. So now I can walk over to here. Interact with the barrel. I've got stuff. So C opens your character menu. There's my inventory. I've got a sword equipped. I just picked up another 12 arrows and a bow, I think, and a sword. Abilities. Scavenge. It's the only ability I've got so far. I haven't set anything up. It doesn't really do anything except as I pick things up, I get a little bit to scavenge. Quests. Show all quests. I've got no quests. Character. There's my character stats. There's my health bar. There's my whatever. So my F buttons, you just drag these into options. Right? Here's attack. So if I hit the F1 button, that's my sword. Hit the F2 button. Now I shoot a bow. F5 will heal me up a bit. I need to do that. There we go. Just healed up a little bit. You can see it healing over here. Heal over time. Alright, now I'm going to go talk to Dawn. Alright, hello stranger, I'm Dawn. What brings you to my neck of the woods? Continue. Want to buy something? Or you have a goblin problem? Nothing. Close the conversation. Continue. I want to buy something. Now it opens up merchant store. So I actually want to sell this. Sell. There we go. Perfect. And I want to buy this. Oh, not enough gold. Okay, I need more gold. Exit. That's alright, I don't need to buy that anyway. Continue. I hear you have a goblin problem. problem. Now, here's where it pops up the quest. Bunch of chickens are being protected. Close. Now if I go into C, quests, now I have killed goblins, 0 to 5. Alright, now I want to show you the damage area. I walk past on. Watch my health. It's going down. I need to heal again. Yeah, alright. Character. Inventory. I don't have any more healing potions. 4 arrows. I'm going to drag an 11 arrow into there. Oh, I did it. It was there. I just am dumb. Okay. Clear that away. So now what I want to do, go F2. Come down here. Now you'll see nothing. Nothing. There. I'm within the range that I set for that bow. And I'm going to keep shooting until I damage it. As you can see, as fast as I'm clicking, it'll only fire at that 2000 milliseconds because I've set that reload rate to the bow. If I go to F3 just to punch again, watch how quick. And when I'm out of arrows, I won't be able to shoot anymore until I go into character and rearm them. I'm out of arrows now. I've used up those 11. So we'll go to F1. I never did hit him. The math right now, it's insanely difficult to hit. And that's because I wanted some testing. So now I'm close enough for my sword. If I back up to here, let me run away. You see the crosshair's not there. If it gets within range, it's back again. Because that's got a much closer range. But it's not as close as if I'm punching him. You can see his health going down. There. Killed him. Now that's not enough. That didn't give me 5. And then I'm just going to go pick up that. You see the trees are swaying. There. Picked up some gold. Clear. 27. Let's go up to the Dawn store. We'll see if the agility thing will work. It's one of the bugs I had moving it over here. The agility potion didn't seem to want to work for me. There we go. Exit. Character. And I think it's because it's not finding the image here somehow. I'm not sure. Alright. So I've drank it. I don't see my agility with those extra points. It doesn't seem to take an effect. And I think it's because it breaks not finding the image, so it can't carry on to buff the agility. So it works on the other laptop, so I think it's something moving it over the project didn't catch. But anyway, that's been going on for a long time. Just to show you all the features and functionality and give you an overview of what this is. So then you build out the game, and then it builds out only the files needed for that type of game. And then when you install the game in the main menu, if I come back into here again, so all right, come back in here to screen capture. So if you install the game, you can then point to the built game or download it from someone else who's made one that you want to play, or on myitch.io if I get making ones. And then install it, basically just lets you take that download, browse to it, and then it'll copy it over into the play game folder. And then the game folder, that proprietary zip file will be there, but it'll be a list and you can select which game you need to play, and it'll only load the components needed to play that game. But I'm not there yet, so I just wanted to show you that. So on that note, this has been a very long video, so we are done, and hopefully you sat through and watched it, and if so, that's awesome. Give me a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. But that's Forgemillz. Lots to come. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it is a really welcome product, because the goal is to make game making super easy and not these complicated tools and make it as simple as possible to make and share and play games. So, on that note, have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye now.